to the Golden Jubilee version of IFFI here. Today is the last day of the festivities. All good things come to an end, and here we are on the last day of the festivities. We do hope that all the media delegates as well as the film delegates have had a meaningful and delightful experience here. We at the Press Information Bureau of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting have spared no effort to ensure that you have a good experience. Now, this last media meet is on the closing film, Marghe and Her Mother, which is making its India premiere in IFFI 2019. The film is directed by world-renowned Iranian master Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf, who is considered one of the leading lights of the Iranian new wave second generation. This film is a tribute by Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf to the world's two greatest film movements, that is, the Italian neorealism movement and the second wave, the new wave cinema. Director Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf could not make it to IFFI here, and therefore the film will be presented to you by Mr. Maysam Makhmalbaf, who is the producer, the editor, and the director of photography of this film. This film has already been premiered and nominated for an award at the Bosphorus Film Festival in 2019. This is Mohsin's Italian debut. Besides Mr. Maysam Makhmalbaf, we have here with us two actors who has acted in this film. We have Mr. Giuseppe, as well as Mr. Paolo Carmine Santeramo. Both of these are actors in the film. As I said, this is the Italian debut of Iranian master Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf. And since it is an Italian debut, these are Italians who are first-time Italian actors acting in this film. Now, may I request Mr. Maysam Makhmalbaf to please make a statement about the film.
Sure. Shall I use this one? First of all, hello everyone. All of us are very delighted to be in this festival. And firstly, let's say thank you to the organizer of this festival, because the role of these festivals are becoming more and more important in today's world. People are getting used to watching the film in theater, which are mainly dominated by Hollywoodian films or those type of films which are more commercial, and less get to see films like, for example, Marghe and Her Mother, or other films that you see in this film festival that make you think outside of the theater as well. So this is an honor to be in this festival, and it is an honor to be as the closing film of the Golden Jubilee of the festival. As goes for the film, as she mentioned, my father, Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf, the director of the film, has made film in 10 different countries. He has made more than 20 films and a couple of short films and some documentaries. So he's used to make the film in different countries with different languages. This time he has turned his attention to Italy for the first time. And in every country that he makes the film, he tries to show you a portrait of that country as his view of what he sees from an Iranian director side. But he tries to capture the soul of the country in his film. For example, you have seen in The President in the past, or you have seen in his other films in different countries. He has also made a film in India a few years ago. So this film deals with today younger generation in Italy in a modern life. The story revolves around a mother and her daughter. She's a 22-year-old single mother. She's like many of the younger generation in today modern society, not only in Italy, all over the world, who are struggling to find job in this modern society, or they are struggling to find real love, find who they are, who their identity is. The film follows this character throughout to the end. and how they try to deal with this situation when the society goes through an economical turmoil. Do you want me?
Would you like to say something about your experience as an actor in the film? You are a first-time actor.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I am, as I said, a first-time actor, and I could act in the movie only because Mohsen trained us before the shooting. During the rehearsal, he taught us how to move in front of the camera, how to speak in front of the camera. He told us some tricks and some basic training. I had some experience as an actor, but only in theaters, and was the first time for me in front of a camera. It has been a very beautiful experience, because on the set Mohsen knew how to let us feel good, and he directed us with a sort of joyful carefree. So he made us express in the most direct and straight way all our feelings. And in fact, my character in the beginning is only a smart guy who doesn't know what he wants in life, doesn't know what love is. But during the development of the story, during the story, he becomes more and more attached to his girlfriend and his friend. So it was good. I could express this attachment, all thanks to Mohsen directing, and thanks all my colleagues on the set, which made me feel good.
Mr. Paolo, would you like to make something? Would you like to say something to the press about your experience?
Vuoi dire qualcosa alla stampa riguardo la tua esperienza?
Sì, molto volentieri. Intanto volevo ringraziarvi per la squisita ospitalità. È stata un'esperienza nuova perché non siamo attori, e grazie ai consigli di Mohsen, che è stato un grandissimo maestro, abbiamo cercato di impegnarci per ottenere un ottimo risultato per questo film. Vuoi tradurre?
Yeah, I translate. He said, "Thank you first of all for inviting us and let us show our movie. And if we could act so well, it was because of Mohsen, who told us how and trained us how to do the acting."
È stato molto emozionante girare il primo film, come è emozionante essere qui oggi. E Mohsen ci teneva continuamente a far presente l'emozione che doveva prevalere sulla nostra espressione, quindi tirare fuori l'emozione ed essere spontanei noi stessi. È stata una bellissima esperienza.
It was a very beautiful experience, like it's a very beautiful experience to be here with you. We could act so well thanks to Mohsen, who taught us how to express our feeling, how to put out our feeling in front of a camera. And so it was always thanks to him.
The floor is open for the press. Any questions?
Maysam sir, my question is to you. Two. One, as a director, and with censorship and difficulties in promoting your movies in the Arab world, how do you find it challenging to make the film? And are you able to communicate after the censorship and all that? What message you want to give? Does it go to them?
Okay, let me answer this in two parts. Like the censorship in Arab world or in Iran is a different censorship than the censorship that you will see in West. Both sides have censorship, but the way they control it is different. So, for example, when we come from a country from like Iran, as you know, all of my father's film is banned in Iran. So they don't let us make film. That's why we have moved out of Iran and we have shot films in the neighboring countries like Afghanistan, India, Tajikistan, and then we had to move out from there to go to other countries. In Afghanistan, they actually their censorship went to the point that they send terrorists to explode a bomb in or shooting, like in my sister's last film, Two-Legged Horse. The Iranian government, in collaboration with some people in like Taliban side of the Afghanistan, they send someone and they throw a hand grenade into the set of the shooting, and 2 horses were killed. And if it wasn't because of those 2 horses, many people would have been killed. Many people got injured at that time, like 20 people injured. One person, after a few months of injury, he passed away. This is the way they go and the extreme way they deal with you as a filmmaker if you talk openly. Inside of Iran, they censor your script. You go through a lot of process, and then even when they accept your script, when you make the film, they don't let it come out. This has been the experience of my family for many years. But when you come outside of the country, you deal also with other type of censorship. For example, in Italy, we made this film. As people of Italy, lovely people, we work with them, the actors, the crew members, everything is fine. But also in those areas, you have like some influence of government that they control in different way. Usually in Eastern country, it's more ideological control and freedom of speech get control. When you go to the West, is usually the power of economy and financial restriction that they put. They don't support your film, or they put more control over that. Even in, for example, for this film we were shooting, we had a lot of difficulty talking about the society in direct way, because let's not forget, Italy as a country, as outsider, we look at it as a European country, a democracy. Like, for example, we look at India as a democracy from outside. It has a lot of positive things as a democracy, but the insider know that there are points that sometimes doesn't work as well. It's not as bad as a dictatorship that happens like in Iran, like the spectrum of the democracy to the dictatorship is a big spectrum. Like you fall in between somewhere in that line. Some countries are more close to a pure democracy, which I don't think anywhere in the world exists. Some are more toward the dictatorship, like Iranian society is not pure dictatorship. There are some part of democracy in it as well, but it is more toward that side. India is probably more toward the side of the democracy. I don't know as an outsider. This side is democracy. This side would be more, for example, the...
We are a mixed economy and the world's biggest democracy, in numbers.
Yeah. So this goes, I mean, I'm not saying that you can reach any of them completely at one point, but when we are talking about censorship, it depending on the openness of the country, it changes. For this film in Italy, the Italian country is, as my father's view it in his film also, you can see there are like 3 different powers inside Italy. One is the central government and what is going on. The second is church, the Christianity that controls part of the country. And the other unseen part is the mafia behind. So they have also power. So when you are shooting, sometimes it is difficult to know if you can do that or not. For example, saying that a police has killed someone in a film is very difficult for them. They don't want to show that the police has killed, even though this has happened in their country in the past or in the present day. So it is, if you're talking about censorship, I would say in East is more ideological, those kind of thing. The pressure is on that. In the West, you are controlled by money. If you can make this type of film or not, they will support the film that they would like to happen.
So One more thing.
So which is more difficult for you to be?
Which is more difficult? None of them is good. None of them is good. One of them becomes more dangerous because, for example, at the first one, if you are a filmmaker that you want to talk and let your audience think, the first one is very important for you to be able to say. You can do it in different way. You can do it like in a minor film, in a very limited, with a limited budget. You find a way to do it, finally. But but still, when you are pushed out of your country, it becomes very difficult because making film in West is very expensive experience. For example, what you can make film in Eastern country is much cheaper in terms of doing it. So both of them have their difficulty, but I think the director of this film, because of his experience in many films, he has been able to give to go to different countries and be able to make his film the way he likes to portray that film and stay true to himself. He doesn't want to. I remember one of the film he made, The Silence, had two options. One to be made with 200,000 euros at the time. The other one was to be made by 4 million. He chose to do it with 200,000 because in that film he could talk the way he wants and he would make his own film. The other one was support from Hollywood that they asked him to put this actor inside the film, put the music all over the film, do this. And he said, that is not my film. I'm an author director, not a producer director.
Both the actors told about your way of communication, making them feel good. And could you exactly tell as a director to get the best of actors, what do you communicate and how do you do this process?
And
They didn't tell how you did, but they told because of you they were able to do the best.
And they're talking about I am the director of photography of the film. I'm talking on behalf of the director of the film here. But I think in dealing with actor, I tell you what I've learned from the director of the film because I've been his student for many years and I'm his son. So
one thing to add on, the best filmmakers in India were all once cinematographers and photographers. From that they upgrade to be a director and they are the best.
And I don't know if I'm that talented or not, but I think the way he approaches his actor in this film, the film is very realistic. Like as our colleague mentioned here, that this film is made in Italy, in a country that has a big history of cinema, and they have given to us two big waves of cinema. One of them neorealism, which deals with the human condition and the society. And there is the other school of thought in there that Antonioni brought, and it talks about interrelationship between human and other human being and himself. So in this film you see both of them mixed together. So the film covers the whole spectrum and goes beyond. It talks about the society when there is economic crisis and everything. In that sense, it goes toward the neorealism type of the cinema. So the acting in that needs to be real and with real people. So that's why the non-professional actor, the first timer, has been chosen for this role, has been casted and chosen for this role. But when you're dealing with the professional actor, you usually describe the role for them, they go and perform. But when you're dealing with non-professional actors, you need to believe in them and they need to believe in you. And then you have different techniques to do that. Like you use a lot of improvisation to make them real. For example, I noticed in this film that Mohsen doesn't give them the whole story. He tells them he tells them what the situation might be in the role. He tells them how to deal with it, but he doesn't give them direct dialogue for them. So the dialogue that comes out of it is pure from the actors. Sometimes if he needs, he sends a message in, so to tell them to go to this direction. And that way he can bring out the real emotion from the character, as you will see inside the film, for example, that Danilo and Paolo, that in different scenes you will see how their emotion for that particular scene is working. or there are different tricks that you can see on the behind the scene of the film, that you see how he works. But the main thing for Mohsen is just to make the camera not important. Like, because usually in film the actors are frightened from the camera. They think this is the most important things inside. For Mohsen, the camera is the least important things on the set, and it makes it look to the actors the same. This is nothing. The main thing is you do whatever you like, but keep in line with the story. And then he creates the situation for them to feel relaxed, or to, if they need to be angry, to feel angry, or if they need to be emotional, he creates the atmosphere around on the set for them, and they do it. And I believe as an amateur actor they have done, I mean not amateur as a negative thing, I mean as amateur as real people. They have portrayed real people. Like when you look at them, I see my Italian friend inside the film.
How different was this experience for you personally from the other films that you have worked on? That is one. And secondly, are there any other genres that you would like to explore, experiment with?
That's a very good question, especially for this director, because if you have seen the works of the director of the film, none of his film looks like the other one. They all fall in different genre, depending on the subject matter of the film. So for him, he says that the subject matter of the film dictates the genre, not the genre. You can choose one genre and make all of your film in that one particular thing. He mentioned to me the other day, I don't want to be trapped by the outside audience or festivals or the market that they want to say, for example, you like the president from Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf, then from now on Ms.Samira Makhmalbaf, every film he makes should be like president, to become a brand only. Then you limit the artist not to experiment, and you don't grow with him in different aspects, and you don't go into different. His style, I would say, is to experiment, talk about different subjects, society, and in his film, three things is very important for him. One thing is the film should be entertaining at the first layer, so the audience would look at the film. You get them to get attracted to the film. But there need to be other layers to the film. Otherwise, if you go for the first one, it is like every other film that you see, and then you come out of the theater, you feel nothing afterward. The second layer is usually the layer that gives you a social, a psychological, a philosophical meaning to the film. So when you come out of the film, you see, I have gained this experience. I have changed even a little bit after watching this film. I can think about some other human being, their problem, their situation inside the society, or this is the second layer. So the film should teach or should make you think after you leave the theater. The third thing is the magic of the film. Like the magic of the film is what you cannot tell what it is that attracts you to watch the film again. He creates some images in his film to make you wonder what it is that is attracting you to the film. These three layers are very important for him. For example, in the movie Kandahar, when you see the legs falling from the sky for the people who have lost their life, that is the magic of the picture that speaks to you subtly. But he prepares you during the film for that, and then he gives you that. In different films, he follows this route. It is really for him very important to talk to different audience in different levels, so everyone can get something out of the film.
Is that done at a conscious or a unconscious level that automatically gets incorporated in his films?
I think he's very experienced that he doesn't need, like when you do the driving, you don't think that I am changing the gear right now. For him it comes very naturally. I've seen that many of the time as a producer we cannot provide him what he wants on the set many of the time, but he find a way to tell his story, and he keeps those layers within that story intact, so he can do that very naturally.
So something more on the music, the edit, and lighting on the film, if you could share something.
Sure. For this film, because it was going toward the realistic type of film, he picked up. He told me as the DOP like that I want to look like documentary. It has the story, but it feels like a documentary style. The camera is handheld throughout the film. All the film you have the as opposed to the last film like President, which was set on tripod to show power and everything. On this film, it's real people movement on the shoulder. And also the lighting is very minimal. It is done mainly outside, but there are a few inside scenes that we use light just to portray what is needed for the film. Not the photography doesn't try to outshine the film or to do something which is not in line with the film. I think as a DOP, you don't really need to have a style. If you have your style of shooting, sometimes you have to work with certain director. But when the director is multi-genre, then you should be able to adapt. If your photography is in line with the story that they are saying is important. He said that to me. And I think if the photography felt the same way at the film is because of his experience, because he knows cinema inside out. So he would teach you what he wants, and he lets you be free. And if you are wrong, he corrects you during the shooting. That's the way it had worked throughout it. The use of the music on this film is very minimal. You don't see much music. You see at the ending credit and a little bit in the middle, just to give you a sensation or a feeling, a color, but not to emotionally affect you like all over the film. Wherever the filmmaker is not capable of making the film work, then they put a music on it. It is almost no music on this film throughout, just very, very minimal. And what else would you like to know? So as editing, for example, and because I have done the sound design on the film as well, because of a micro budget film, and because he wants to make his film the way it is. I have done also the sound design, for example, on President. There are two different approaches he has asked me to do. He said that one is a big production. It requires a different sensation. This one is real life. It should happen the way it happens in real life. For example, there is a scene that the character, I don't want to ruin the film for you, but there is a scene that something emotional happens inside the film, and I tried to make it as big as President with the sound design. He came and looked at the film and he said, this makes the film big, but this is not the real things. The real life of the people, it doesn't happen like this. So he changed that. He knows exactly what he wants. It is not about if he can make big film or small film. He has shown throughout the years that he is capable of every genre. He is one of the masters of the filmmaking. So in terms of this film, he kept it in line with reality, but also in the film it goes through different layers. It talks about the current society, and also it talks about interpersonal relationship. For example, how the characters have problem in finding true love, and when they come, the temporary love that you get in this modern life, like the main character fall in love, they lose each other for no reason, and it is not long-lasting relationship. This is the situation. Or another character, Danilo plays inside the film. The society has put so much pressure on the person that he doesn't follow his own dreams. Inside the film, he's not happy. He's following the dreams of his mother throughout his life. The best character of the most healthy character in this film is the genius little girl inside the film. She's like a different level. She is the most healthy because the society hasn't imposed their rule on her. She is very honest. She talks what she thinks. She is very logical as a young child. Because we haven't given her rules that you have to do this, this is not acceptable by the society, or the mother wants this. This is how he is portraying. Are you living a happy life, or is the society making you lead a life that they want?
Any other questions? Any other questions? If there are no questions, can we end this press conference? I would like to thank Mr. Maysam Makhmalbaf, Danilo and Paolo for taking part in this press conference. We sincerely hope that the film Marghe and Her Mother travels across the world, carrying, as he said, not only a message of entertainment, but also an inspiration for a better and a changed life. I also want to thank the media for being with us throughout this throughout the festival. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.